inviting me here this morning. Thank you all for showing up to listen to us. And thank Ms. Thorwart for taping all of this. I'm Sam Graves, running for District 1 Commissioner. I started my public service when I was 16 years old. I volunteered for the Mechanicsville Volunteer Fire Department where I lived. I moved on from that after I graduated from high school to join the United States Army. I served 2 years active in the Army, 2 years active reserve, and 2 years inactive reserve. Finished my 6-year commitment, got an honorable discharge. I discharged from the Army, I joined the Charles County Sheriff's Office, at which point I moved back into Charles County full-time. My early years, I grew up between Charles and St. Mary's County. I'm a full-time resident of Charles County and have been since 1974. My full-time and only residence is here in Charles County. I served honorably on the Sheriff's Office for 29 years, retired in 2003. It took about a year to catch up on all the things around my house, cleaning up the yard, trees, and things that I had neglected for 29 years while I was working. Drove a school bus for a little while. Enjoyed that, enjoyed the children. Then I wasn't happy with what was happening in my county as far as how it's being operated and run. So in 2006, I ran for commissioner. And Virginia was partially right. I didn't beat Danny Mayer. Danny Mayer was appointed as a delegate. There was a vacant seat in Annapolis for a Republican delegate, and Danny was appointed there. And Ms. Candace Prin Kelly was appointed to finish out his term as a commissioner. And I ran against her in 2006 and defeated her in the election 2006. I was commissioner from 2006 to 2010. During that time, I served on the Tri-County Council's Veterans Advisory Committee. Charlotte Hall Veterans Home has a very small community-based outpatient clinic. We worked very hard to increase the services that are provided to veterans at that facility. At one point, we invited the Federal Veterans Affairs and Maryland Veterans Affairs to come to a meeting at Pax River. We did that purposely, so they'd have to drive to Lexington Park. And one of the gentlemen that drove down there from Baltimore or Washington, I forget which one, he was a little late getting to the meeting. And when he got there, he stood up and said, you know, it took me an hour and a half to get here today to this meeting. And I said, yes, sir, it did. And you have a car. Our veterans that live down here that don't have cars, how long do you think it takes them to get to the services that you offer in either Washington or Baltimore? Drove a very point home that we need to have those services available to our veterans in the communities that they live in. And they can do that very cost effectively by doing some of the medication, some of the things through telemedicine, video conferencing for the patient to sit there in front of a doctor that is in Baltimore or Annapolis or Philadelphia, wherever they are, do an initial diagnosis and evaluation, and then make appointments that they can make and keep. Our veterans show up for appointments in Baltimore or Washington. If they're 15 minutes late, they've missed their appointment. They got to reschedule and come back again. So that is no way to serve the people that have served us and protected our freedoms. I served on many other committees while I was a commissioner, but that was one of the ones that I worked very hard on to try and do that. And we've had some success. There's been money allocated to build a larger CLOC, community-based outpatient clinic in Charlotte Hall, so the veterans in this region will have more access to better care. I also serve on the board for many nonprofits. I'm the president of Christmas in April. I'm the treasurer for the Charles County Fair Board. I sit on a board for Point of Change Jail and Street Ministry. I sit on a board for Freedom Landing, which is a group that helps people that have chemical imbalances. So if they take their proper medication, they can be fully functional citizens in our community. And I do all these things, and I did all those things while I was commissioner, because I believe in all of them. Christmas in April help the senior citizens in our community repair their homes, to let them live their lives in the homes that they raise their children in, with dignity and respect. And I help them do that, and it makes me happy to be able to do that. The Fair Board keeps agricultural education alive in our community. The children need to know that an egg doesn't come from the supermarket, it comes from a chicken. Milk comes from a cow, it doesn't come from a carton, a plastic carton. So those things are important because all of us, unless I miss the point, are going to continue to eat. And we need farmers to continue to grow and raise those things that we eat every day. The Point of Change Jail and Street Ministry, I recognized when I was a police officer for 29 years. The people I was supervising towards the end of my career were locking up people. And I said, well, that man couldn't have done that. He's got to be in his 60s by now. And they said, oh no, this man captain's only about 25 or 30. It was the son of the one I had locked up at a younger age. So just like the carpenter teaches his son the trade, the electrician teaches his son the trade, the criminal teaches their children their trades. So If we don't do something to break that cycle, to give those children a better set of skill sets so they can be productive citizens in our society, we're going to continue having that revolving door at our jail for generation after generation. We need to keep that moving. I'm running out of time? Oh, I haven't finished. But I'm a very conservative Democrat. It's like your household income. The only difference between your household income and the county commissioner's budget is there are more zeros behind it. Fund balances is a reserve fund. I hope each one of you have one in your household income, because if your refrigerator goes up, where do you go to get the money to buy that fund? It's what's called your fund balance. If you use those fund balances to go on vacation or to buy other things that are recurring expenses, it won't be there when emergencies come up. So you have to look at where the pots of money are, what they're designated for, before you use them to fund things. I guess I have to stop and I'll answer questions.
Thank you, sir.